All right, so let's get started. I sent the link already on things you can download. I'm going to try to send it again as soon as Peter starts talking. There are also additional informations you can do. And a little bit about us. My name is Jessie. I'm a founder and CEO of Create and Learn. We're in the Bay Area. Our mission is to teach students like yourself all the cool computer science things that are really, really fun to learn and are super useful when you grow up.
All right, so hey everybody. So I'm Peter Wonica. I'm one of the curriculum developers actually at Roblox. And so one of the things that I do is I teach people how to make games, whether it's programming the games, building out the art and pictures, or even like trying to test out your games with others. So in this talk, I'm going to be talking a little bit about like what is Roblox, what kind of goes on at Roblox, and then I'm going to show you all Roblox Studio, which is what we use to actually build all those Roblox games. So just kind of like a little bit about what Roblox is Roblox is actually really cool. You can actually build your own games in Roblox, and the really amazing thing actually about Roblox itself is all of our games are actually built by Roblox players. So normally with games, you have like these really big studios and individual developers. With Roblox, we have all of that together. And so we have really big studios that make games on Roblox. And then we also have people who were like 12 years old building their own games and actually getting like hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people playing their games. Like one really amazing example is there was this one middle schooler who built a game that was all about birds just dancing, and within a day like millions of people were already in this game. And so with Roblox you can actually kind of find ways of talking to your friends. You can even learn computer science. You can even learn new languages. One of my coworkers actually managed to learn English by going into Roblox and talking with other people in it. So we have like all of these games, but one thing I really want to talk about is how Roblox games are actually made by people really just like you all. So just kind of out of curiosity, like in the chat, how old do you think an average Roblox developer might be? Like, are they going to be like over 20? Like, how old do you all think it might be? So yeah, like for the most part, our developers are actually, this up here is actually a pretty good picture of our Roblox Developers Conference, which is a conference all about just developers on Roblox coming to just talk about their games. And most of our developers are actually pretty young, like they're oftentimes 16 to 22. One other thing is, when do you all actually think Roblox developers get started? Is it elementary school, middle school, college? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? You can always just kind of post in the chat. Oftentimes when it comes to, oh, wrong slide. So oftentimes a lot of our developers get their start in middle school. Like I got my start actually coding in elementary school, where my dad actually just bought me this book at like a used bookstore and thought like, oh, my kid likes computers, maybe they'll like to learn how to program that way. But a lot of our developers actually get their start in middle school. Like the two of my coworkers, they've actually made games when they were 12 years old. They're basically like a twin brothers team. And when this developer was actually, I think, 13 or 14, he actually wrote one of the very first books on how to program in Roblox. So oftentimes our developers get started really young and actually get to make really cool things. Like how many of y'all have actually played Jailbreak, or have even heard of it, Jailbreak? Yeah, that's definitely Jailbreak. Um, so this is Alex, and he's actually one of our most popular developers. He actually managed to pay for his entire college tuition just by building Roblox games, and he actually got started building and creating when he was just 17. And right now, he's just 20 years old and is making hundreds of thousands of dollars having a Roblox game that he works with a really big team. Um, we also have all sorts of different creators actually on Roblox. This, for example, is Arithia. She's a super talented 3D artist who does work like clothing that you can put on for your avatars, 3D worlds, and even animating characters like this dragon you see here. So there's all sorts of things you can do in Roblox. There's also all sorts of creations you can see in Roblox. Um, this here is actually one of my favorite games called Bird. You just go around as a bird and you just grab things like avocados. It's pretty silly, but you can find all sorts of really cool games on Roblox. Um, the example we have actually on the right here is from a developer who was 11 years old, and he was actually having a really rough time with his family. And so he actually built out a game about him getting better and his family getting better. Um, there's also all sorts of real cool things you can see in Roblox, like people make historical recreations. Can anybody guess what's actually the building on the left here? What famous landmark do you all think this could be? Ah, Eiffel Tower, yes. This is a recreation actually of Paris. And the one on the right, that one's gonna be even harder. But can anybody take a guess at what city on the right is? It is on the west coast of the United States, is one clue. Not New York, but it's actually San Francisco. So somebody actually recreated all of San Francisco in Roblox. Um, Now, making games in Roblox actually takes a lot of really diverse minds, and there's so many different things that you can actually do. Part of this includes people who do graphic design and art. For instance, we actually do drawings or art. Um, does anybody kind of doodle in their free time? Like, we actually have concept artists and graphic designers on our team who do all of the artwork for all of the Roblox avatars that you can put on. We also have a wide variety of different teams on Roblox. Um, One team in specific is like our user experience team. Like, have you all ever played a game where something was clearly broken or you just didn't really get how to use something? Or maybe you were on your phone and you were trying to just do something and you didn't really understand what was even going on. Um, that's our user experience team. So these are people just, and their specific job is to actually make sure that you know and feel comfortable using a piece of software, like whether it's something on your phone or a game that you're playing. We also have our developers relationships team. So, have you ever played a game where something was broken? Like you walk forward a little bit and then something flies up into the air, or you can walk through walls that you're not really supposed to walk through? That's something our team actually, I'm actually part of the developer relations team. Like, we do things to make sure people can create on Roblox. One of which is we actually have one of my coworkers, his entire job is just to play Roblox games literally all day long. just to look for bugs, glitches, and things that don't really make sense in Roblox, just to make sure everybody has a really good time playing their games. So now, the cool thing actually about Roblox is a fully fledged game engine that uses Lua, a popular coding language that's actually really easy to learn how to use. So here in this video, you can actually see, this is an example Roblox game where you are it's a superhero fighting game. Just kind of showing off, like, you can have fireballs, you can have laser eyes, and you can get all sorts of, you can build out these graphics in the game. And once you actually get into building, you can get into a lot of programming. Like, here you can actually see one of the scripts that is made in Roblox. And some of this might look a little bit like mumbo jumbo, but once you actually get into understanding what programming is, a lot of this can actually make sense. Like, you can see things like add laser or remove laser that actually can read out loud. And there's a lot of really cool programming that you can do in Roblox, whether it's something really simple like building out a trap or doing something complex like a complete full game like this. So that's actually a little bit about Roblox. But a couple of the things that I want to kind of leave you all with before we actually get into the more hands-on stuff with Roblox is a couple of things that I just kind of want to mention is if you're thinking about wanting to get doing something, whether it's creating, don't worry about like what you build, but just get started right now. I got started when I was, I think, honestly, like 10 or 11. Yeah. Like, I started making like these really kind of junky looking games, but like it was really fun. And like, don't really worry about what you make as long as you're getting fun out of it. Like, I ended up making this little experiment where I thought, what happens if I can attach like donuts onto a ball and it rolls around with me? And so like I had a lot of fun making this, but this is actually a really cool programming challenge. And with that, also try and think about what you can share and how you can ask others to share cool things with them too. So like, yeah, that's a little bit about Roblox. And before I actually kind of get into the more kind of hands-on stuff, I kind of want to have a little bit of question and answer.
I was asking a question about building stuff.
Go ahead.
So, do you like build stuff?
Oh, do I like to build stuff?
You put like blocks and items on.
Yeah, I love building stuff. A lot of the things that I actually do for my work is oftentimes building Roblox worlds and building out a lot of the code used in games that I teach about. So it's always real super fun to build stuff, especially when it comes to one of my favorite tools is working with terrain, which lets you actually build mountains in Roblox, and that is real fun.
If you like put something in and if you don't know what the code is, do you like what do you do?
So his question is, how do you figure out the code if you're not really sure of how to?
Oh yeah, that's a really good question actually. When it comes to coding, what we often do is we have a lot of information on getting what our code is. So what you can actually see, oftentimes developers have places where they go for their code, and I can actually show you all a little bit here. So developers have things like called an API, which is kind of like a dictionary of what a code is. So for example, if I want to know like what a player does in a Roblox game, I can look up that entry in a dictionary basically and see what it does. I can also sometimes just kind of play around with the code. Like you can try out an idea that you have, see if it works. If it works, that's awesome. If it doesn't work, you can always try out something else.
Yeah. You can also ask your friend, I suppose.
Oh yeah, always asking friends is real helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I can go ahead and continue on to the next portion and leave out some space to do some more Q&A later.
Awesome, sounds great.
All right, cool. So the next part of this is actually getting into Roblox Studio. And I want to show you all how to actually build an animation in a Roblox game. There are so many different ways you can actually work in Roblox Studio, but one is we're going to do a simple walk animation. And so this walk animation, now think about if you were building a game, how would you want your people to move around? Because this is your game and they don't actually have to move around like a normal walking. Like you don't have to walk normally. Like you can actually swim, you can dance, or you can just kind of hop through your world in really whatever kind of way you want to. Remember, this is all your game. So we're going to go ahead and build an animation in 3 steps. And I'm going to go ahead and show y'all how to do that. So first things first is we need to go ahead and have Roblox Studio open. So I'm going to give y'all just a little bit just to kind of get like where Roblox Studio is. And I can also kind of answer a couple of questions every now and then. But Roblox Studio is the software used to build all the Roblox games. For instance, this is what Jailbreak and Adopt Me and Piggy are actually all built in. So once you actually have Roblox open, you can go and find a screen that says New. These are actually templates with code and models all actually built in for you that you can start playing around with. Like you can play around with the code for a racing game or even build your own obstacle course. For this one, since I actually had a specific file, I'm going to go ahead and open that starting place. Or if you downloaded this and have Roblox Studio, you can just go ahead and double click on that on your desktop. Yeah, so one thing is if you have a Windows, you can just open up Roblox Studio. Once that's open, you can go to File, Open from File, and then go ahead and wherever you ended up saving yours, you can go ahead and just open that file. And I saved it here. And you can just go ahead and open it there. And just as a reminder for everybody, like even if you're not able to follow along with this right now, I'm going to give you all a whole bunch of resources on learning Roblox Studio at the very end. So if you're more interested in coding or building 3D worlds, I'll give you all a whole bunch of lessons that you can actually go through this like on your own and build out some really cool stuff. So first things first, let's actually go ahead and get you set up a few things. So for this, what we're going to do is we need to set up a couple of things so we can start animating. So let's go ahead and see how to use our camera controls first. So this is actually the world that I have for you all. So if you right click on your mouse and hold it, you can look around, look over there, drag the mouse up, drag the mouse down, and just kind of look around and hopefully not get too dizzy if you spin. The next things to kind of do in camera is to press, if you've ever played any Roblox game, this is just like moving, but you can press W, whoa, S, A, D to move around. And you can also combine that with the right click and hold to be able to zoom around this world. So see if you can go ahead and go move from the bottom here to one of these places high in the staircase. See if it can also just kind of run a lap around here and get used to these camera controls. So the next thing is, what we need to do is set it up so we can animate. So what I'd like y'all to do is find in the top left where it says model and make sure that the rotate and move doesn't have anything in it. So if it looks like this, go ahead, left click here. So these two things are blank. And once you got that, we're ready to start posing our dummy. So here.
Okay, so we might want to pause a little bit just to make sure everyone has it. I saw some questions people were asking, what if they don't have a 2-click, like a button mouse? Can they, I assume they can still do it, just a little harder, right?
Yeah, it might be a little bit trickier. Like if you have a trackpad, just using the right portion of that, or if you have a Mac Magic Mouse, I think you can change that setting so you can have a 3-button mouse on it.
So another thing is, I think people are asking about where to find a camera. Where is the camera?
Oh, so
go ahead.
The camera is actually the perspective I'm looking through right now. So the camera controls are actually right click and then hold to rotate, and then W to move forward, S to move back, A and D to move left and right.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Another person asked, how do you get the character there and all the sceneries around? When I open it, it's all sky with a gray plate.
Oh, so make sure that you open the file that we sent. So I ended up creating this file where you have a specific thing. So just make sure you open that file. All right, cool. So now we're gonna go ahead and get animating. So for this, remember, we're gonna try and figure out in your imaginary game, what is your character gonna walk like? So first things first, we need to go ahead and get an animation editor open. So to do that, find where it says plugins here, and then left click on plugins, left click on animation editor. Once you do that, you'll see something on the bottom left appear. And to get something to animate, we're going to be posing this dummy here. Go ahead and left click on that dummy. And now, remember our camera controls. You can rotate around and then see all the things to pose. So let's just give it like a quick couple of seconds just to make sure everybody's on this screen. And just as a reminder, left click on plugins, left click on animation editor, and then left click on the dummy.
Okay, can you just walk them through the steps again? I think when you use a terminology, they may not still know like what you meant by, you know, animation editor or whatever. Can you just walk through the steps again?
Yeah, of course. So left click on this tab that says plugins, and then left click where it says animation editor. This is where you are able to animate characters in Roblox. Cool. So the first things first is I want to go ahead and pose my character. So in my game, I'm going to pretend that I'm just going to be swimming. And so I need to go ahead and put my character in a pose where they look like they're swimming. So to do that, I need to go ahead and rotate my character. And so to do any type of moving, what you need to do is click on a part of the body. And once you click on a part of your dummy's body, you see these spheres. And by clicking one of these, holding and dragging, you can go ahead and rotate in a different direction. So this might take a little bit of getting used to, of knowing like, okay, which one does this rotate? But you can see if I rotate this red one, I can move my character forward. I can move it back. And I'm just rotating my camera. And I can move my character side to side. So for your projects, go ahead and try and see if you can rotate one part of the body. So let's just say I want to start rotating my character down so they look like they're about to start swimming. And then I can right click my middle mouse and then click one of the legs here. And it might be a little bit tricky to kind of see what you might be clicking on. So then you can go ahead, I'm rotating the entire body. Just do slow motions. And keep on rotating different parts of the body until you kind of get a little bit of a pose to start with. And you might actually want to get up physically and kind of see like, okay, my body bends like this. If I'm going to be swimming, like my hands are going to be like that. So I'll give you all just a little bit of a minute to kind of just get a first pose. And just to recap these steps, left click on a body part, and then left click and drag one of these arrows up or down, or left or right, to get your character in the pose that you want it.
Okay, while people are doing it, I'm going to ask you a couple questions from Q&A. Yeah. Someone asked a question saying, what if we have no ideas and don't know what to build?
Oh, so that's always a really good question. There are a lot of ways that you can actually get ideas. One is I actually keep an idea journal of anytime I see something interesting, I go ahead and just write it down. A couple of other things is you can also play games to generate ideas. Like whenever I was actually working at summer camps, when I was teaching, we play mix and match games in order to brainstorm some ideas. So one thing we would do is write down a whole bunch of adjectives and a whole bunch of nouns, and then recombine them in order to get all sorts of different results. So you can write down adjectives like radioactive or colorful or spooky, and then nouns like a forest or a coffee shop. And then you can get things like radioactive coffee shop or colorful forest. There's a lot of ways that you can actually generate some ideas on things that you might want to make.
Okay, cool, very good. So can you show people again, like maybe some tricks to move it around? A couple people, some people are very excited, they already got it moving, which is awesome. It is so fun to see it moves around. I think there's some other people who are having trouble with a little bit. And there's also the question is, how do you move the whole body?
So to move the whole body, and it might be easier to, you can actually find specific body parts to move in the bottom left here. So to move the whole body, you have to click on a part called the lower torso, which is this part here. So you can either click on it here, or you can find it in the bottom here. And once you move that part, you can move the entire body in any direction that you want it.
Okay. How do you make it walk?
Oh, so that's going to be the next step is we're going to go ahead and start our animation. So I'm going to go ahead and show y'all, I'm going to show this step twice. So just kind of watch for the first moment. So do you all see on the screen this little white diamond? So we're going to right click on this white diamond and do copy selected. Now, real quick, an animation is actually built by a couple of parts of just things moving together. And so this is the first part of our animation, and we're gonna put it at the end. So whenever your animation plays, it moves smoothly. And it'll make more sense actually once we get this done. But
I'm going to interrupt you a little bit, Peter, because I think it's getting more complex part and there are more people can follow it. But we won't have time to just slow down for everyone in this class. So I just want to let everyone know is if you're having trouble following so far, we are actually recording this whole video. So you will be able to see it after the class and kind of follow along at that time as well. And of course, when you're watching a video, you can repeat it many times. So for now, we're not going to slow down for everyone, but Peter is going to show all the steps. But he will try to show you as slowly and carefully as possible. So hopefully, many of you can still follow. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, so yeah, what I'll do is I'll just kind of slowly show these next steps, and then we can kind of have like I'll show you all some resources where you can keep on learning, and we can maybe do a little bit more question and answer. But what I'm gonna do is right click on this white diamond, do copy selected, and then at the very end, you're gonna right click at the end of that place and then press paste keyframes. And then you'll see a new section open up here. Now, to bring the magic together, we need to get a middle part of our animation. So if you can find where it says 15, go ahead and left click there. And now you can see, go ahead and pose your animation to do something else. So I'm gonna, just to be quick, I'll do something very silly with mine and just make mine just twirl a lot. So if you left click and drag, you can notice that we had our first one, we had our next part, and then we had our very last part of our animation. And just to make this even more sillier, let me go ahead and just pose this a lot more. Just get a real weird looking animation. And now, once you're actually wanting to see it play, I'm gonna press this button that says loop. This means my animation will repeat, and then I'll press the play button. And I certainly did get a animation right here. And you can all kind of just figure out what kind of animation you want to go ahead and build for your own game and try and play around with this. So remember your animation has 3 parts of it. So the first and last part are the same. So I right click on this white diamond, do copy selected, and left click on that. Now I go to my very end, and then I right click there, and then I paste keyframes. Now that I have that, I left click somewhere in the middle, and if you see, if you left click here anywhere, it moves the time of your animation. So I'm going to move it to the middle, and now that it's moved to the middle of your animation, you can go ahead and pose it any which way you want it. So I'm just going to have the head go all sorts of different ways. I'm going to have the arm rotate in all sorts of ways too. And once you actually get that, you can press toggle or toggle looping animation. That just means your animation will repeat when you press play. And when you press the play button, you can see your animation starting. Then you can always press it again, so it stops.
Okay, looks great. So a person was asking the question, in Roblox, some characters are blocky and some are skinny and smooth. Why is that?
So at Roblox, we want to make sure that no matter how you want to see yourself in an online world, you can actually find something for that. Our older characters are the more blockier ones. The newer ones are kind of the more smoother ones. But we just want to make sure that no matter what kind of style you want to have, you can actually see yourself. Like, if I actually play this game, you can actually see my character in game. And so this is what my avatar looks like. Just kind of like a little fox dude with some real pink hair. And this is the kind of style I like it for my character, but you all might like a more blocky one or something else. But that's actually a little bit of the tutorial part that I wanted to show you all. But the other thing is, if you all ever want to actually learn a little bit more of Roblox, you can go onto our website, education.roblox.com, go to our content section, and here are all sorts of lessons where you can actually learn how to do game design, how to build an obstacle course, how to do all sorts of coding. The one on the very left here is a great way to get started. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody. And if you ever want to keep on learning, check out our website. And with that, I just want to open up for a couple of more questions.
Well, one of the questions people have is making games on Roblox free?
Oh, yeah. So all of our lessons are actually free, and making games on Roblox is also completely free. Like literally just today, you can actually go on that website, do a lesson, and then put up a game, and you can share it with all of your friends completely for free.
Okay, there's someone else asking a question. Do developers get free Roblox?
Oh, so developers don't get free Robux, but they actually get their own money from their games that they build. So if you end up starting on building your own Roblox game, you'll actually be able to earn money off that like any other game.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
there really isn't such thing as free Robux in the world, sadly enough.
Okay. So there's another question here. I don't know. I'm sure Roblox does a lot of this. It said, do you make sure hackers are out of the game?
Say that again?
do you make sure hackers are out of the game?
Oh yeah, of course. We have a lot of important emphasis on just making sure people can't actually hack into games. We have an entire team actually dedicated to trust and safety. And even I've done programming for my games to make sure that hackers can't actually get inside.
And they said that what's the best computer you think to play Roblox on?
Really kind of whatever you have. Roblox can run on my phone. It can run on an iPad. It can run on a Chromebook. It can really run on pretty much any computer.
Like, I missed out, like, I lost track on when you guys were giving us instruction how to create an animation. So I will watch the recording, but like, if you want to create like a world or a game, how are we supposed to do that?
So that's actually a really good question. Let me actually share my screen for this one. So if you actually go to education.roblox.com, you can actually go ahead and go to the content section. We have a ton of free lessons that you can go ahead and check out what you're interested in. Like,
so all of these are lessons, and anyone we click, we can like join that lesson.
yeah, so if you want to learn a little bit about coding, you can go ahead, check out this project, and it shows you how to get Roblox. It shows you how to actually build out worlds, and you can also find anything else that you're interested in here.
Okay, so it's basically you just have to go to the website and pick whichever one we're interested in, and then it'll give us the instructions how to like do it.
Yeah, it gives you step-by-step instructions.
I was wondering if he's ever posted any videos online. Sorry, ever posted any games online?
Oh yeah, so something that I do is we have these things called creator challenges, and I actually develop all of them, or I'm part of the team that develops these games. Let me see if I can get an example. Like, for instance, we have this one game is a space racing game that I ended up coding for. We also have this create and destroy game that's all about you're a big monster and you just destroy cities for points. So yeah, I've actually done, I both write lessons and I also do the coding for the lessons.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Right. Okay, so I think that's going to be the last question we're asking because this is already out of time. I want to thank Peter again for coming in and give such a wonderful talk. And as you can tell, there's so much to explore when you want to code in Roblox. You should definitely go try it out. We will send the link. If you want to write this down, you can write it down quickly. Let me put it up the slides. It's at education.roblox.com. The chat doesn't seem to be working super awesome, but definitely go to education.roblox.com to see all the examples that Peter has shown earlier and a lot more than that. So yeah, so that's our talk for today. I do want to also mention that we do these kind of talks by industry expert once in a while. We have another one coming up in about 2 weeks. We're going to talk about something called a GPU, which you may not have heard of it, but it's really used in a lot of different computers for building really interesting movies that you have been, like you probably love to watch, from Spider-Man to Avenger to Frozen. And then, yeah, so definitely come learn that. the video today will be published on our site, which we're going to send an email as well, so you can follow the instructions that Peter has given to reproduce your own things and then build even more beyond that. Awesome. With that, I think we're going to finish up today here. Thank you again, Peter. That was so wonderful. It was lots of fun. And yeah, I think people are saying they're really loving it. It's really, really fun. I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of them continue to build on Roblox.
I look forward to kind of seeing all the cool things y'all can make.
Absolutely. I'm sure they'll build awesome things.
All right,
Awesome.
see y'all.
Bye.